There. Well, almost had it. Whatever.
You're here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to change positions. I don't know. Okay.
Kinky. I mean,
deal with a few things here. It's like, no, I'm not going to watch Section 30. I think like Sucktion 31 is really a better name for it. I've seen enough breakdowns of it, and it's like, really? Yeah, Steph is still going through trauma for watching it. Oh, there we go.
Aw, poor Steph.
Yeah, the plot is hackneyed beyond belief. The dialogue, one point they're interrogating a thing, and Giorgio rattles off her big list of titles, whatever, then they come back up. Does that come with fries? And say, yeah. Jokes about drive-through burger joints is still going to be a thing in the 23rd century. Jokes really only land if they seem to be sort of organic to the setting, Yeah. Or if it's obviously a parody Mel Brooks type of thing,
You're really great with your pauses today. You keep saying things, stopping, I try to respond, and then you go off again.
I've been following Shatner, but I don't know. Yeah.
I'm totally speaking normally.
The art of doing a proper Shatner, though, is not just random pauses. Like Kevin Pollak broke it down. It's like you got to, take the.
I'm not trying to do a proper imitation here. I'm just saying how stupid you're sounding at the moment.
Forming the thoughts as they're coming out here. I made a script. Okay, but the jokes have to be organic to the situation, or it has to be an obvious parody. This is they're trying to be serious here. It's like, we want to be fun. There's nothing fun about this. Okay. There's been complaints about the constantly moving, camera work. Well, that's what this director's whole thing through Discovery. The camera's constantly moving and twirling and giving the audience vertigo half the time.
Yeah, we're going to make up for crappy shows and movies by adding a bunch of effects that really suck anyways and just try to distract you.
Yeah.
How JJ-esque.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where Kurtzman learned this stuff. Being one of JJ's boys.
I can show you how much skill it takes to be J.J. Abrams and to film something for his. Hi, Daniel. I mean, really, this is the level of skill for creating something as J.J. Abrams. Look!
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty. Look at this.
Lens flares. Oh, isn't this realistic? Oh, my God. It's cinema verite.
That's it.
There's one thing when Joss Whedon did it on Firefly where it just happened. They weren't planned. Well, again, it would catch a lens flare, and he'd leave it in. It makes it more realistic.
There's gonna be some that happen organically. There were some that happened in the Nova bursts and stuff like that in Andromeda.
Yeah,
that's different than sticking them everywhere
and deliberately sticking them. I mean, I've seen behind the scenes stuff on his Star Trek movie. They're deliberately aiming lights into the camera lens to get those lens flares.
But photography 101, you're supposed to limit lens flare.
Yeah.
It's not artistic. It's stupid. It looks like you failed your art classes.
Yeah.
But again, what would I know about photography and camera work?
Like I said, it's one thing when you're doing a show like Firefly, especially a scene where it's handheld, and you accidentally pick up a lens flare, and it does add a realism in that respect because it is real. But when you're deliberately going for it, and it's a lockdown camera, no. You look like a hack. Okay? Because you are. All right. Let's go into here. Let's start with this one here. It's from Rachel Karen didn't want. Will fans tune into another Paramount Plus Star Trek streaming movie? Yeah. Based on the critics' reviews and the fan feedback, it's safe to say that Star Trek movie Section 31, starring Michelle Yeoh, didn't turn out quite the way the executives of Paramount had envisioned. Well, the executives figured they were putting out as a tax write-off. They knew it was going to bomb. There's no nice way to say it was a bomb, but it's the widespread consensus. The ending was left open for a sequel, and Yeoh and other actors in the movie are on board to return. Of course they are. They want to get paid. On top of that, there have been On top of that, there have been talks of other Star Trek streaming channel movies. Yeah.
Please, dear God, no.
And most of the talkers say, no, you're done. So there's a strong possibility that, if not Section 31, another Star Trek movie will be made for streaming. However, there's an old saying, once burned, twice shy, which makes me ask, will fans take a chance on another streaming movie on Paramount Plus, even when Skydance is in charge? I'll give you an example right now. Skeleton Crew. By all accounts, it's not half bad. But because of the Acolyte, the ratings are in the toilet. No one's even bothering now. It's like, no, we're not giving you another chance.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's Jude Law's in it. It's actually kind of fun and kind of resembles Star Wars, actually.
Nope, no clue.
No one's tuning in. They're sick of it.
I've tuned out so much half the time when people name these things. I'm like, I've never heard of it. I don't care.
Yeah, so largely may depend on who writes the script, as odds are very good Star Trek fans aren't going to tune in for another go at a Craig Sweeney pen story. Even if another writer would have a go at it, fans are still going to be uncertain about investing over 100 minutes of their time in what could be another less than stellar outing for the franchise. Though Section 31 has had major streaming numbers.
I don't believe those.
No.
See, the problem with these whole rating systems we currently have right now and all these supposed numbers all these things are getting, all of these ratings are being run and controlled by the people that are actually making them, saying, we got this many views.
Yeah. Now,
there's no real auditing system to verify any of it.
Well, trying to say, well, Acolyte was actually the second biggest streaming thing on Disney Plus. It's like how many billions of minutes? Okay. All right. You break that down into how long each episode was, and you get a little better view of what the actual viewing figures were, and they sucked. And the fact that it was the second biggest one on Disney Plus, it's like, no, that's not a mark of how good the show is. It was how much on the toilet Disney Plus is. That's the best they can
Disney
do.
Plus is collapsing. Yeah. And literally most of the views they get on that are people watching the classic movies.
Yeah. And in the case of like Section, they're probably the numbers for what, but that's just numbers of a lot of people watching it to review it and come on places like this and trash the hell out of it. Let's see. Paramount shouldn't count on even half of those fans tuning in for a future installment unless the movie is written by someone fans can get behind. Is this the point where Paramount needs to put aside the ideas for future movies and focus on series instead? None of them have been panned as badly as Section 31, so it stands to reason that you should go with what works. Whatever is decided is probably going to take a lot of convincing for fans to be willing to watch another streaming channel only movie in the franchise. I think they're also going to look, how much did we spend on this for a again, Section 31, it's a special case, Section 31, because it's like he wanted to do an entire series. But Paramount said, no, you're not getting a series. By then, they already seen The Rot. All
right.
Yeah, we'll give you one movie because you already got that much in there. We'll use it as a tax write-off.
And hello, SG. I have no idea even which channel chat you're in, but welcome. No, it's like they don't get it. They keep doing the same things over and over, going, we're going to get a different result. It's like, what's that called again?
Insanity.
Oh, yeah, insanity. Like Panther thinking he's going to grab my chest and I'm going to do anything.
Yeah, I thought that's what that was. Yeah.
He's like, but I like to. Hello, boy.
There's certain drives universal between species, okay? It's like, males like grabbing females.
How long is it going to last before he puts his paw back there?
But it's like, the problem, the way these things work, though, this thing has been in the works for a while. It's, most of it was shot without Michelle Yeoh available. They shot around her, most part. She was only there maybe a few weeks for her scenes. Everything else was either, everyone's reacting to her, or if her back's to the camera, it's actually a stand-in, probably.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to waste my time on that set very long.
No, especially now. One thing, when you get that Oscar now, wherever you go, it is always Academy Award winner.
And the last thing you want to do is go, yeah, I went through the Academy Award and now I'm doing this shit.
Yeah, that happens a lot though. Like, you know, first role after you win that Oscar is usually a dog. Consider right after Halle Berry won the Oscar for March's Ball, she did Catwoman. Or at least that it came out after. Half the time it's a horrible movie that didn't come out yet, and it's like she wins the Oscar. Oh, get it out! We could capitalize on this.
The problem with Catwoman is as much as it bombed, there was actually some really good scenes, and they could have made it so much better with a few tweaks. There really are some actually really good action scenes and other stuff, but they mixed it with such stupidity.
Yeah.
It's like one of those that had such potential and just didn't hit. And I don't believe that's at all to do with Halle Berry's portrayal of Catwoman.
No, you have to work with what you got. Yeah.
Because every part of her scenes, she loved using the whip. She held that cat personality. All that stuff was fine. That wasn't the problem with it.
Well, that's kind of the thing with a lot of movies. You know, it says Catwoman. Where's Catwoman? Catwoman is Selena Kyle. You know, Captain America is Steve Rogers. You know, Black Panther is T'Challa. It's like, you know, and these, where the hell, you know? Okay.
And I realized they were trying to go, oh well, it makes sense. She's not that Catwoman. The whole thing trying to explain it as there's were Catwomen before you. It's like, no, just make it the fucking right person, right? You know, Panther, I can't get anything down to you here.
Now let's see this other one.
Okay, good boy. Come here. Come here. There you go. Go sit with your girl.
Offering from Chad Porto. 3 reasons why Star Trek Section 31's failure is worse than you think. Let's see what his approach is here. The recent failings of Star Trek Section 31 can't be understated. The film was supposed to usher in the next era of Star Trek entertainment with more made-for-streaming films being made. All about different concepts. It was a unique idea and would set up Star Trek to be able to tell some stories without having to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a project. Oh, and you're still investing big bucks into it.
I don't think it was that unique either. It was.
No, it wasn't.
How many different franchises have gone, okay, this show ended, let's make a bunch of streaming movies. Site's freaking doing it.
It was a half-baked attempt at a Mission Impossible Guardians of the Galaxy mashup. It's like, what was it missing? Oh, yeah, Star Trek. Yeah.
Psych did the streaming movies much better, though. Theirs are actually good.
Well, yeah, probably not the same people who did the first show.
They are.
So you got some continuity there. Yeah.
But that's the thing. You can do this shit, but you got to do it right.
Let's see. We had ideas of what kind of films the franchise would make next. Concepts like a spy thriller that wrapped up Star Trek Enterprise, coupled with the return of the land of living for one Charles Trip Tucker. You don't need to go that far. Just like Riker got a bad program. It's wrong. You know. Another idea would be the family of Warp banding together and have him, you know, proofread your shit. Have him his own clean. We could do a huge idea of a team-up movie featuring Star Trek's most beloved but less profitable characters.
It's one thing when you post like on Facebook or Twitter X, whatever, and stuff, and you have typos. It's another thing when you're writing articles and you can't fucking proofread.
Yeah, that's, you know, he frequently misspells things in the grammar. It's like, what? There were so many ideas we pitched on our own. Yeah, that's part of the problem. Once you put it out there in public, they can't use it because of, you know, someone's going to, hey, you stole my idea. That's why whenever I do something, I also put on the thing, this is yours for free. You know, so yeah. Not to mention the hundreds and hundreds of fans that pitched. You know, again, you don't know how the system works, do you? That's speculative on our part, but you see how poorly something is received, and you know the money is tight as it is over at Paramount. And it's fair to assume the worst of the situation. We're not sure how everything will fall. But we do know this film was so bad it could affect some other things within the franchise. Let's see if we can get this into procedures. Oh, come on, you. Okay, go on to the next page. On a side issue, while this thing's trying to load, came across something on eBay. Some guys selling a 16 millimeter print of the second season blooper reel.
Oh, okay.
It was shot in very good condition, and it looks pretty, pretty authentic as far as like because he also has other studio related stuff, a lot of Disney sketches, the animated stuff, and things. So it's like he's not quite sure what he had. So I gave him a quick rundown of they did 3, total of 4 bloopers, 2 for the first season, 1 each for the second and third season. You have the second season one, and it was done for the wrap parties. What the hell? Come on. It will not proceed onward. But I can tell well, screw it. Let's shoot on my own here. One of the things they probably screwed up more than anything, well, something that actually Midnight does point out, that the money they spent on this stupid thing kind of wipes out whatever savings that Skydance and everything had racked up and doing the acquisition. So this idiotic move on Kirk might very well have put a very big crimp in the takeover in the first place, screwing up a whole lot of people's lives here, and other bidders that come forward now and possibly derailing the entire thing, and now they'll be taking over Paramount. So you thought the David Ellison hated Alex Kurtzman before?
Oh, don't feel bad. We all hate Alex Kurtzman. I mean,
but I mean now it's personal. Now it's fucking personal. Okay.
I still maintain Kurtzman is the kind of person you give a job to because you don't want him on the street licking strangers. Da da da.
But I got a lot of people pointing out, like I said, the difference between reference heavy stuff where they know what they're doing reference wise, like Lower Decks was, that if they're calling up, they cite it correctly and there's some relevance usually, or it's just correctly identifying something. And then you got Section 31 where they're just throwing names out and say, see, okay. You got Rachel Garrett showing up on this thing. This is the 23rd century. Rachel Garrett was the captain of the Enterprise C in the 24th century. And Captain Garrett was definitely not in her impression 100. This thing is set like 50, 60 years before she was even born. And then of course we got the apparently some guy from Sharon, and they kind of killed each other. Okay, no. They were extinct by the time this thing was. And also the fact that they have half black, half white hair tells me, no, they didn't even watch the episode. They got it from the Mego action figure. That's what they do with the action figure. And we knew it was wrong then, but now it's the 70s. It's the only toys we had. I'm not sure how big a seller that figure was in the first place. But it kind of goes the whole thing. They don't even watch the damn show they're supposed to be, moving on from. Like the entire first season of Picard was supposedly based on the actions of A Measure of a Man, but the fact that they did what they did showed they never watched A Measure of the Man because the legal ruling on that one's like this would have been impossible.
I think that they don't get it. The whole point of that episode was to show that we shouldn't be quickly trying to make ourselves the gods to decide what is and isn't in life.
Yeah. And also the big revelation. Oh, Renata had a daughter. Yeah, he did. The title, the episode The Offspring, I think it was, where Data built the daughter, Lao. And again, furthering on the legal thing because Starfleet tried stepping in and said, we went, no, you don't. Have one of my officers hand over his child to the state? No. Not while I'm its captain. That was a proper follow-up to Measure of a Man because he has rights. I help write them.
Hell, protecting the different rights of people that are considered less important to the government was better done in insurrection. To hell with our orders.
Yeah. And again, going with that Insurrection, if it had been a two-parter on Next Generation, it had been hailed as one of the best ones because it handled a very heavy issue, forced displacement of peoples from their lands.
And it handled it in a very mature way too.
Yeah.
I still have a soft spot for that one.
Yeah, I think one of Patrick Stewart's best scenes where he's going, how many people does it take before it becomes wrong, Admiral? 1,000, 5,000, 1 million? How many did it take?
That's the thing. Yes, it's not as high-paced action as a lot of the Star Trek movies are, but the intellectualism is so spot on in that movie, and there's so many deep and philosophical and social and cultural, really deep moments in it.
Yeah. Michael Peller's script. There you go.
And not by making one side automatically all evil, one side automatically all good. There are probably problems with certain things, and they even went into the point of how you can become jaded to think that it's good because you're trying to help. Even that admiral thought she was trying to save millions of lives. You could see how she could become tempted. There was a humanity to all of them.
Yeah. That's also good because originally it was a much dark. They were using Heart of Darkness as a kind of an inspiration point for Insurrection. But that kind of because the studio wanted to inject more humor into it, and Peller was able to do that. Go back and started adding the joke, like Picard doing a samba in his room, and then Riker and Troy in the bathtub where she's shaving his beard off. They had it was a lot of humor, but it was an organic situation. You could believe these guys are telling these jokes, making these lines.
Trying to get Worf to sing.
Yeah. And eventually got him to,
No, when it got to the part about his
I know.
Fifth, all of a sudden he's like, wait a second, I'm good with this.
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing to a really cringe thing when Beverly and Deanna are talking about, notice how your boobs are perked up, but we're not supposed to notice those sort of things.
Well, again, that
wasn't the big line. The big joke was when Data said the same thing to Worf a couple of minutes later. That was the big payoff of that one when Data said, and he says it back to Worf. It's like, what?
And again, those two have always been the cringe masters, anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm so offended by the male gaze. I'm going to talk about my boobs being bouncy and high.
They're getting perky.
You can't have it both ways, you dumb bimbos. Either you like the big boobs, or the bouncy boobs and the perky boobs.
Yeah, bouncy boobies. Yeah,
but you don't.
Yeah.
You're going to be like Marina Sirtis and make your career flashing your junk and your boobs at people and then complain about the male gaze because of a skin-tight outfit on a show.
Yeah.
Dumb bitch. I mean.
I think originally the thing was because she, that first one was denim. She really couldn't move much. So that, again, this is back when the show, it's like the hiatus between the first and second season.
She was still part of the sexual revolution. She still said she wanted more body showing than the other cast.
Yeah.
And then she tried to basically say that they forced her into it. And it's like, no, they didn't.
Yeah, no. Marina, just thank God for Dorothy Fontana talking Gene off of the thing of giving Deanna 4 boobs.
I don't know. That might have been funny.
That was an original thing. And she's like, okay, Gene, how are they going to line up? They'd be in a row. Okay, yeah, it's stupid.
I don't know. I always thought, because the ones where they show them rowing kind of looks like udders, I always kind of thought have them come inward, that like two bears. Would be easier to make work with costuming.
Maybe just one big one with 4 nipples. I don't know.
No, that's too much like udders.
Yeah. And these kind of inviting things that I'm automatically say, oh, she's such a cow. Okay.
Oh, don't be daft, you silly cow. I mean, Okay, that was terrible.
I can also picture Bob Justman in that same. Yeah, and also the added cost and makeup kind of attaches thing over. No, just please, Gene, no. Curb your libido for 10 seconds. Okay.
Hey, curbing Gene's libido is a hell of a task.
Thankfully, he was in his 60s by then, so it's like wasn't quite as energetic as he was.
What was it that Mark Gungor said about the male sex drive? First, we have this spike when we hit puberty, and then it tapers off, and then we're dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like super slow, drawing the straightest line impossible. Going, it tapers off, and then we're dead.
Oh,
it's like, hey, if we're drawing breath, we're horny little bastards, basically. Just the way a pastor can get away with saying that, right?
Think about your dad and his last act before passing on. It's like groping your mom.
Hey, how many men are proud of that and would like to go the same way?
Right.
Grope your woman, go to sleep, and
right? I did it my way. Oh. But
and again, the same argument here. Let's be honest here. We may be taught to be more delicate and less sexual. Women are not, and we get more horny as we get older. Our sexual hormones are highest in our 40s and 50s, even though we're not producing anymore.
Yeah.
Because basically, we've gone through the whole production era, and our body's still going, I still want to do that.
Well, now it's like the likelihood of getting pregnant is out of the way. It's okay. Now we can have some fun here.
Actually, biologically, it's more the body sit there going, okay, I can't have the baby anymore, but I still feel all those hormones.
Yeah.
Fix me.
Or fuck me. One of the two.
Sex.
But it's
I mean.
But it's like with this one, it's like Kurtzman can't blame any kind of really interference because he was given carte blanche to do this crap. It's all on him. And the fact that this is the biggest disaster in the history of the franchise. I mean, Star Trek V is looking pretty damn good now by comparison.
Give it time. Kurtzman will try to spin this as those poor bigots don't appreciate my brilliance.
I'm sure he's already doing it, but it's like the heads were looking for a reason to get rid of his ass anyway at this point. Like, nah, sorry. We might have given you an extension of about 6 months to a year to wrap things up, but no, not even that. That contract's up, you're out. Yeah.
I hope so, but I have no faith in modern studios to actually use their fucking brains.
And like I said, this thing has jeopardized the entire Skydance deal because of how expensive it was and how big a flop it is. And just other things where it's like, Paramount did not cancel Lower Decks. Kurtzman canceled Lower Decks. Paramount was quite happy with the numbers they were getting because it was an animated show. It wasn't costing them that much. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't like a live action show. And the return on investment, okay, these are good, and the fan reaction was pretty good overall. A lot of us old timers said, "Hey, these guys know what they're doing. We like them. Hey, come watch." And of course,
you got to add a little context to that whole situation. That was part of, honestly, what led to doing the Star Trek animated series after killing the actual show was they couldn't afford the actual show as easily. Yeah.
Well, especially since all the sets have been broken down and half of it's gone to UCLA and the cast is scattered to the four winds.
Well, it's also part of why the show ended was because they had to keep fighting for justifying the expense because it was expensive. It may look corny to people now, but that was top of the line shit then.
That was one of the most expensive shows on television.
And so, they had to constantly fight to go, is it worth the expense you're spending on us nerds?
I mean, they needed more because they were literally raiding, dumpsters to use as secondary props, especially Mission Impossible stuff because they got some really weird styrofoam stuff that someone can pack in. It's like, hey, spray painted silver, put on the wall in engineering, Yeah, it's weird. It's fan fiction written by people who aren't fans.
Yeah, that's
part right there. Yeah,
because I've written fan fictions to a lot of stories and things I'm involved in.
Yeah,
they honor the lore. They talk about the things we loved about it. They follow the culture of the shows or the movies or whatever it is. There's a difference between good and bad fan fiction. You can have really brilliant fan fiction. Hell, most of the Star Wars and Star Trek novels were fan fiction.
Yeah.
But they were well done. They were understood, the context, the lore, and other stuff. These idiots wouldn't know their own ass if their head was crammed up. Oh wait, it is.
Yeah. No, I did a couple of submissions to Strange New Worlds, writing contest. The pocket was running for a while. One of them involved the Enterprise coming across an older starship that had been lost in the area, and basically this guy had set himself up as kind of a Lord Jim type thing. Where he just fuck the Prime Directive. He built his own little kingdom there and run the ship.
Part of the problem with what you were talking about earlier and the way that they addressed it is they're trying to drop this epic bomb on people oh yeah, Data built a child. It's that was in the show. If you watch the show, you knew that. Reminds me of back when they did the Lord of the Rings movies. And this at least was translating from book to movie. So there was an audience that wasn't there for the original. But I remember how irritated my brother got, how freaking annoyed he was. And all the people gasping and murmuring and talking in the theater because, what, Gandalf's alive? And he's sort of going, you fuckers never read the books!
The second submission it actually had first voyage of Captain April on the Enterprise meeting the Borg. Now, personally, I don't like the Borg really. They overuse this thing, but also again, that's where Section 31 came in handy. Is that was the resolution for it. They came and doing the stuff and you got orders to destroy everything. What?
It's just weird. It's just crazy. These people that aren't fans that want to get deep into these fandoms. Yeah. Okay. Lord of the Rings, it brought new fans in. But, when you're such a hardcore fan of the books, when you've read it for years, when you're sitting there and your mind is picking apart where they screwed up things and where they changed things and stuff, and you hear people going, oh, Gandalf's alive, and you're sitting there going, you dumb fucks. I mean, that's one of those moments where you're just like, can we not have nice things? Can you dumbasses shut up? I mean,
like the Sharon guy showed up and said, hey, didn't they kill each other off? What the fuck? These guys are dead.
And I do wish that Tom Bombadillo had been in there. I wish they put in more about the whole battle with the Entwives and the battle for the Shire. I wish there were things that they changed to try to play up the romantic couple more that I'd wish they hadn't changed and stuff like that. But do I still love the movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at least it was done with understanding of the fandom. I still have more issues with it than a lot of people in the community do. Yeah. But
Tolkien would have hated the movies, but he hated everything that was attempted to do.
Yeah, but Tolkien generally hated anything where people were basically trying to pat his back and say your stuff's great and make more stuff of it.
Yeah.
He really didn't think his stuff was actually that good. And his son, God love him, I understand his son had some valid points on some of the criticism of Jackson and other stuff, but you can't sit there and say you didn't understand my dad's vision when you literally allowed them to make Lord of the Rings tarot cards. Because your dad was a devout Christian and the storylines were based on retellings of characters like angels and demons and stuff. You could not know. Your dad would have been mortified by you doing that. That doesn't mean that I don't think that Christopher's heart wasn't in the right place.
No, I think maybe somebody whoever had in charge of a license. Oh, that sounds a good idea. You want to run it by Christopher.
And the fact that they did all this Rings of Power stuff, they literally waited to activate the contract they'd had for years until right after he died, and then basically got the people in charge of the estate and his family to allow shit that was against the contract. Absolutely is disgusting.
Yeah.
They took advantage of his death to get what they wanted that he wouldn't agree to.
But they still can't get a hold of the actual Lord of the Rings material. It's like, no, you get a few side things. Yeah. but nothing from the books, nothing from the Silmarillion. It's like,
and that's the other problem, because they weren't willing to work with the story enough to actually get them to contractually agree to let them use Return of the King stuff or Silmarillion or all that stuff that Tolkien and Christopher had written. They don't have the continuity, and they're trying to write about characters that are supposed to be from them without, breaching that line and getting themselves in trouble. And all they're doing is showing their whole ass on international TV.
Considering what they're doing with it, I'm kind of glad they didn't get the rights. God knows that they'd actually had legal authority to do what they're doing.
I know. But the point is that the reason they didn't get those whole rights is because they didn't respect it to begin with. It's all systemic of their idiocy. And yes, we went from Trek to Lord of the Rings. Guess what? There's a huge overlap.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, first big partial Star Trek fandom was SCA members, okay?
Here's the thing. I am very, very much a Trekkie. Yeah. We all know that. Hell, we all know that this is what mouse pad.
Look at the name. Look at the name, people. Okay.
But
no, it's not the one I drive.
I am more a fantasy fan than a sci-fi fan. I love both, but I'm way more a fantasy fan than a sci-fi fan. I'm way more into mythology and fantasy and realms like that. This is the stuff that gets me passionate. This is the stuff that gets me heated. Can they do it right? Can they stop screwing things up? Oh, honey. My hubby brought me food. I love you.
I was thinking this stifle a certain myth that's still going around that, they got rid of Gene Coon because Gene Roddenberry didn't like comedy in the show. It's like, no.
Oh, this is getting demonetized.
Nope. I gave the full name. But no. Roddenberry did not have problem with the comedy. He didn't have anything with
No, he didn't.
The Gene. It's like, the reason why, the line producer for the second half of the first season and almost the second season left was for personal reasons. He was going through some various personal crises there. And also the pressures of producing Star Trek were getting, and combined all that was getting nuts. He had to step away.
It was expensive as hell. There was a lot riding on it. There was a lot of pressure on every episode that you had to bring the butts in. This is why I cannot understand how they ever actually made Spock's brain, because there was too much writing on it for that shit.
Well, that was Gene Coon. That goes another thing. But the thing is, there's a rather infamous letter that Gene wrote pretty much to the entire cast and crew, but specifically calling out Shatner, Nimoy, and D. Kelly for the shit they were pulling and rewriting, swapping lines around on things, holding up production. That pressure goes back up the line, and so Gene made it quite clear he did not want to lose Gene Coon. He put that it's partially because of you guys and the stuff you're pulling on there of why we're losing him.
Hey, hello, Price is Right. Not bad today.
Yeah. So
and to everybody who wonders when I say my husband brought me food, to know what kind of foods I eat, it's literally low-fat grilled chicken wrapped in lettuce.
But no, Roddenberry did not mind. In fact, the original concept of a piece of the action was very straight and dramatic, and probably a little dark because you're dealing with gangsters.
There are plenty of episodes that Roddenberry was one of the writers of that were comedic.
Yeah.
That whole argument is stupid as hell from anybody who doesn't actually know how the show went.
Because but he said, let's go comedic here on this one. Let's lighten it up. So yeah, the reason why it is because of Roddenberry saying, hey, make it funny. That the director they hired for it, James Comack, was mainly known for directing sitcoms and comedy stuff. He was a stand-up comedian himself. Okay. So they went full bore comedy on that episode at Gene Roddenberry's direction. In fact, when David Gerald said, we met Gene Roddenberry while they're making Trouble. Hey, great episode. I loved it. In fact, the whole thing, more troubles, more troubles. Or more trouble, where it is. That was David Gerald wrote that kind of at the insistence of Roddenberry. He had to do a follow-up on that. It was intended for the fourth season if they had gotten one. So this whole thing about it's getting too jokey. No, that if anything, that was more of a from Fred Freiberger who came in. Star Trek's not a comedy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And he nuked the idea of a follow-up triple.
There were plenty of interviews where Roddenberry said openly that he didn't like when shows with too many serious episodes at a time, that he wanted the jovial episodes mixed in constantly, that he wanted the lighthearted stuff.
No, I've seen that thing where they don't have to everything be some big major message. You can kick back, have a little fun once in a while. You gotta that was one of the things that when Shatner came in after screening the first pilot, and said that hey, yeah, great production, but they need to lighten up a little bit, like they're going to being this is important and we're important people and it's important ship to this is a job to them. They need to be a little more casual here, instead of just saying, hey, make the course, hey, turn left, George. Okay, that sort of thing.
Like, in fact, a lot of the people who worked with him actually openly said that he would have had problems with how a lot of the later shows that were in our era of Trek went, because he would have wanted more comedic episodes mixed into it. Because he had a percentage rate he actually pushed for, where every serious episode, you need a comedic episode kind of thing, where he wanted it balanced. He wanted it less dependent on watching previous episodes to follow along.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the other shows.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they didn't actually follow Gene's behavior. They actually went more dark and serious than he did.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately where I think those shows could have benefited, is if they just stretched a few more episodes per season and put in a few more lighthearted ones and put a little less, every episode has to tie to the previous.
Well, that's kind of where I say Michael Piller was kind of Next Generation's answer to Gene Coon. He's like, he the writer, producer, and do the right and do that kind of thing. And also work within the rules of run route. No fighting with, okay, well, we're not going to do, this is going to be character driven, guys. Okay. We're, and he made it work. But it's like, even, let's take example, the Omega Glory. That was Roddenberry's all thing. He kept pushing it. He was pitched for the second pilot. And there were elements in there of the Prime Directive in there too. So it was always in there to a certain extent. But even in that one, Roddenberry wrote that one. That was all his. Nobody else wanted anything to do with that episode. They considered it a stinker from the get-go. There's jokey stuff in there. And we're talking about, two on the verge of killing, like during the fight in the cell, and Spock reaches over, does the nerve pinch on the girl, and like, you got to see this sometime. I have tried, Captain. When they finally they break out and get back to McCoy and they punch on the guard and poof. Oh, good morning, Jim. Good morning. Roddenberry was not a foreigner to injecting comedy into his stories.
No.
In fact, that one pilot, APO 924, it was set in World War II, right in the Pacific. It was, again, in that case, a little bit ahead of its time, because it was kind of like MASH, well before MASH was. This is like 62, And one of the things, two of his characters are doing, they invented an ice machine, and they're selling ice cubes to the guys in the officers club for 25 cents a cube. Like the one character Pat Harrington played, Lieutenant Edward Jellicoe. He's a PT boat commander. Well, these names get recycled, everyone. He was a very jokey character, Didn't take anything seriously.
Gene didn't take things that seriously. Not even his wedding vows, let's be honest.
No, yeah. Like, it's a good thing that Majel didn't necessarily find out about that, or
oh no, Majel knew.
Okay, well, again, because Majel, consider where you're at right now. And why you're here now. You were the other woman up until about 6 months ago. Okay. And had been for years. Okay.
That's one thing I do have to give her. There was no known history of her trying to make him feel like shit for sleeping around. She knew what she was getting. You know? But it's hilarious to me. It honestly is. Bob's dealing with stuff. Did you answer her and then forget to unmute?
I'm unmuted.
Oh no, I was just wondering because you looked like you were still going on your monologue there for a bit.
No, yeah, apparently they're on next Amazon delivery's on its way, so we have to break away for a bit. But
remember, it is Thursday, so I won't stream too long today.
Yeah.
So we'll rant a bit longer, but it's not going to be that serious.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
Yep, there's Amazon. Hold on.
Okay, according to this stuff, my next package is supposed to arrive tomorrow. Yay! I've got a gnome hat. I could wear it too, but I'm not a gnome. And I have headphones on. But I know who needs to wear it. Woo. Nothing like tormenting gnomes. I got a gnome hat. So to those who understand what we're going at, this is nerddom at its finest, all over the place. The thing that drives me insane with a lot of these issues is just the lack of understanding in a lot of people. You don't know. If you're new to a nerddom, if you're new to a franchise or a culture or something, how about you just not try to speak for that culture? How about you just try to make it adhere to your vision of whatever bullshit you like? Because we're not interested in changing ourselves for you. We're nerds. We love our nerddom. We love who we are. We're not changing. And you're not going to make us change. Hate to burst the bubble, right? Except for I don't. But we are unapologetically nerdy. Unapologetic. You're not going to find the nerd out there going, I'm so sorry that I'm a nerd. No. And you shouldn't. Baby cakes, you shouldn't. If you love your nerdiness, love your nerdiness. If you love to be a dweeb, be a dweeb. Example here, right there. There's a giant dweeb who's been a dweeb for 60 years, and he'll be a dweeb till the day he dies. He will always be a nerd. He will always be a dweeb. We're very proud of it. So if you think you're going to come into a culture, a franchise, and just try to rip it out from under us, you're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I took the shot right at you as soon as you walked in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw you go, yeah, as I said it.
Yeah, I heard enough of it over the headphones. Yeah. So yeah, does it look like we're going to go down? Oh, I have several of these.
Tell your wife she's insane, by the way.
You're insane, by the way. What? There we go. I need to get a whole bunch of batteries.
Yeah, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell her that came from me.
Yeah, I think she does.
So,
yeah, I mean,
you've got to embrace the nerdiness.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when Ron Moore saying when they were planning Enterprise, talking about how Berman and Brugge, they better become full-blown true believers in the original series, or they're going to get in trouble. I think you're doing a prequel, you are pretty much locked into what you're being a prequel to. Now, do mistakes happen? Do mistakes happen? Yeah, sure, of course they do. That doesn't give you excuse to just totally ignore everything and up in the apple cart.
And they were too much on the ignore side at the first season. That's why they never won a lot of fans.
Well, they tried to stay. They stayed away from as much as they could. It's not quite the same thing. They didn't, completely. They made a point not to contradict anything.
When you're making a point to avoid, it's still upturning the apple cart when you're trying to be a prequel to something. That's the thing. And again, I will never agree with that show. I still love the Futurama line, which unfortunately was before the modern Trek, which made it even worse, which was congratulations, Bakula, you've ruined a franchise.
Well, fourth season, they pretty much knew this is going to be it, so so they really leaned into it. Putting up a lot more connections with the original series. So
but it was like, if they had done it right, if they had really made it feel like they really were honoring the first series, I would have been so in the freaking tank for that show. So I am an OG girl so hard.
Yeah.
And it does kill me, but I realize it's become popular more in modern Trek culture purely because it's better than what they're getting.
Well, it certainly helps that the other stuff sucks.
No, that's pretty much why it's become popular to a lot of them.
It's kind of we never knew how good we had it, did we?
Yeah, I still don't think we had it good with that. It doesn't mean it's as sucky as what's currently going on, but I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, well, it's better than this, so I'll like it. It's like, nope, I still think it's shit. It's shite, utter shite.
Well, that's part of going through, the update for the concordance was, okay, how much of the newer stuff, and then almost the entire fourth season would go in because it directly connects to an original series thing. I think it's only like one episode that didn't get in. And I can tell you right now, these are the voyages would only be as like one paragraph of just noting, okay, yeah, this is how much we can. That Archer did a speech at the big gathering that would become the Federation, and a couple of things. But otherwise, no, this is apocryphal at best. Okay, Riker got himself a bad cop. Whoever wrote that holodeck program got a lot of things wrong.
I'm just kind of zoned. I'm just I am such a hardcore. I'm a hard ass, and I can sit there and be friends with people who, for some ununderstandable reason, like the new shit. I've got friends who do, but I question their taste and their sanity. I still like them as friends, but I do wonder if this bad taste is also why they like hanging out with me. So
well, it's kind of, it goes with the Robert Byron. We want to like it, okay? We want to be able to say, shut up and take my money. But when it's just so irredeemably horrid,
And I think that's also where some of it has come from, is some of the fans have convinced themselves to ignore the parts that they would not like because they want to like it so much because Trek, because fandom, because loyalty, because and I know so many who would have argued against everything these shows are doing a decade or two ago and have gone in for it now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're malicious in buying it. I think they're just so desperate to have their culture. So it's like I don't understand it, but I empathize.
Well, again, I kind of like, we need to appreciate the gift that Mike McMahon gave us in that last episode of Lower Decks. It's like, here's your alternate timeline angle. Like, he knew what he was doing when he played that card. He said it,
Right.
I mean, left it vague enough. You can interpret how you want, but no, this, you're canceling me. I just canceled you. Fuck you.
This has been a crazy, crazy week. Can I just get an amen to that?
And McMahon's a hardcore fanboy himself. That's why most of the stories that turned into Lower Decks was his kind of jokey idea on his Twitter stream about a 8th season of Next Gen, and just throwing out ideas. The Enterprise, a lot of them were used as episodes. Better hope he wasn't watching.
Oh, unfortunately, he already saw me open it. He's already said, "I'll fine, I'll wear it for you, just not when we're in these public places." It's like, okay, sure, that's what you think. It's like, sure, okay, I'll go along with that for now.
You got tickets for the show?
What do you mean?
Drew. Okay.
We booked all the tickets months ago. We've got tickets for me, Lydian, Steve, Netcat, and his wife.
So the game was afoot.
No, the game is a game. A foot is a foot.
But no, I concocted a big old thing of how temporal dynamics works in Star Trek. It's like, got a video on it. Go check it out. It's not that old. It shouldn't be too hard to find. But,
oh dear Lord, I don't want to sift through your crap. I mean,
but is it big? You have your main Star Trek timeline, and then you got something happens to splinter off.
That's the thing. We've been friends too long. We don't really watch each other's shit anymore. We're just sitting there going, we'll just make it together.
It's kind of like taking out the thing where we're Spock, sitting there forever. How time is fluid like a river. Okay, well, the alternate timelines comes when someone throws a big rock in the middle of the river. It's still gonna. They're still gonna be flowing, unless it's a really major thing, in which case you got to remove the rock. But which has happened a few times. Citizens of Forever, big thing. There's a big rock there that get out.
We had a different reason that we had to remove something from the river here when we had the flood that we had in 08.
Yeah,
it took out several train tracks and actually washed full empty trains into the river.
Ooh. That's a flood.
Yeah, it put a semi through the second floor of a church.
Yikes.
When I talk about having been through disasters, I'm not fucking kidding.
Yeah. But they kind of a little bit of Doctor Who time because there's certain fixed points in time that have to happen. Like Kirk getting command of the Enterprise or something, or apparently Picard getting his essence transferred into a robot. Those things have to happen. In the main timeline, they make sense. The alternate timelines caused by something or other, that's when they start getting weird. Like in the main timeline, Kirk assumed command of the Enterprise, taken over from Captain Pike. In the mirror universe, he took over command of the Enterprise by assassinating Captain Pike. And the JJ version was a glorified version of Red Rover again. You send someone, whatever.
Please send
Kirk
over.
It made no sense whatsoever for that version of Kirk to be in command of anything, let alone the Enterprise.
Not like it made any sense for those entire movies to exist.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're taking the fact of, we're watching alternate timelines, they admit they're alternate timeline in that movie. That's the saving grace of it. They don't claim to be, rewriting canon. They're their own thing. Okay, fine. Well, in that respect, you're still an idiot, but, we can safely ignore you. But And then you got the disco universe. It was like, nothing looks. What the hell happened here? It's like, the next one is offshoots. You got to go clear back to Enterprise, Stormfront Part 2, where Archer essentially hits the big reset button on the temporal Cold War thing, and everything starts realigning. Well, this is one of the alternate timelines from that nonsense. And it so far feels like this isn't even close. Okay,
Well, I mean, I'm trying to contribute, but every time I try to contribute, you keep rambling until I forget what I was saying. So, do you have an off button? Or do I just need to, hostile take over this shit?
Well, I don't know. Well, I'll just wrap this line up with it's like my rationalization for season 3 of Picard. It's like, where
I think the rationalization for 90% of this modern Trek is people doing this.
Yeah.
Dude, I got an idea.
If that much, I think we probably get better stories that way. They're just idiots. If they're stoned idiots, it's even worse. But it's like following the theory, the timeline still has to flow downstream. And eventually made up with the main timeline downstream somewhere. And Picard season 3 is this is where things finally start to line up, and most of the other stuff starts breaking off. So it's like it's almost canon, almost there, but just a couple of little sniggly things, that are hanging out there. Picard season 1 and 2, no, they're hopeless. They're gone. They go to dead ends.
It sucks like a 2-cent hooker on crack after she's been in the gutter for a few weeks.
And Strange New Worlds, that one's going to be a dead end because they changed the date of the eugenics wars. Because of that, well, this is actually laid out several years, about 20 years ago, at least, closer to 30, on the old AOL boards, message boards, when Ron Moore kind of screwed up inciting when the eugenics wars happened. And he admitted he fucked up. He had the Khan's line from Wrath of Khan that said like 200 years ago, and I was like, no, he forgot to add in the extra 100 years in DS9. So it's like, oops,
And I think DS9 did a good job of explaining the problem on both sides, including, these people who've been genetically altered, modified, artificially created, but they're still people. It's not their fault what their families did either. And they really did a good job of humanizing that situation.
Yeah. And so sometimes it doesn't quite work. You get the entire spectrum in that group. But,
I was going to say, unfortunately, that group really felt like kind of different versions of autism run amok. Yeah, before the term was even coined, I think. No. Or before it became popular, well known. There's probably a textbook somewhere. Most people had never heard the term autism at that point. You'd be surprised in the 90s how much a lot of people did know it existed. It just, it was this evil boogeyman that made your kids evil. But thing is, if you change the date, you change the date to eugenics wars, you change the date of when Khan leaves Earth, you change when the Enterprise finds it, and if they don't find it in time, they don't have the whole thing around Khan, they don't get the bird of prey. They're not in position to stop the probe when it comes to find out what happened to the whales, and Earth is destroyed. Congratulations to Akiva Goldman, you killed Star Trek in that timeline. But now they're going to and I think that's part of why they never managed to go further with the movies after that as they wanted to, because they could not figure out how to bring the stories back. Well, it's also everyone's getting older and expensive. So again, I don't have any issues with the actors. They took a part. A lot of them were fans of Star Trek, and even some of the actors said they didn't like how it was written. Yeah. I don't dislike people like Chris Pine for playing the part. I dislike the way it was written for him. Yeah. And as for this here, if we can come up, here we go. Yes, I did kind of answer that, but the proper in-universe answer is what's Section 31? No one's supposed to know about it. Okay,
They don't have their own ships or bases and everything else. It's no one knows how many people are actually in it.
Again, if they built it with this whole concept of really playing up the spy novel stuff and having like secret bases hidden in mountains and stuff like that, and hyper cloaking devices and technology that helps them disappear into the scenery so they can investigate things. That's one thing. It'd be cheesy to some degree, but it'd be understandable. It would work. Play it up as a cross between Bond and Get Smart with a bit of Spy Hard and Men in Black. I mean, you could make a comedic movie that would be brilliant. But what they did was just, basically piss on Star Trek and then go, look, it's raining.
The way it was set up in DS9, for all we know, Section 30 wasn't even an official name. It was a colloquial reference to them because that the part of the Federation Charter they're under. It's like Article 4, Section 31, I think the way it said in Star Trek Continues. In fact, that may have also been in Enterprise when they first started hinting. Oh yes, we're part of the United Earth Charter, Section 4, Article 4, Section 31. And that's where the origins of Section 31, as far as that goes. But no one's supposed to know about this at all. Officially, they do not exist. For all we know in DS9, all of Section 31 was Sloan and those 4 or 5 guys in that room.
You're not supposed to know it exists.
First rule of Fight Club.
It's not supposed to exist.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be, in the public opinion, the same equivalent of Kurtzman's brain, non-existent.
Yeah. But it's like, first rule of Fight Club, you do not talk about Fight Club.
Second rule of Fight Club.
Do not talk about Fight Club. But the secret division of Starfleet. One thing Sloan pointed out, they're not a part of Starfleet.
Also, by the way, I do need to watch the Dodgeball Club episode of Last Man Standing with you.
But it's like, they answer straight to the Federation Council. They don't answer to Starfleet. And with Enterprise, they predate Starfleet, really, as far as Federation Starfleet goes. Like the line in Hellboy. There are things that bump in the night. We're the ones that bump back. That was their whole modus operandi. And they don't need ships or technic. They use other people's stuff, so you can't trick it back to them. It's not a Section 31 ship. It was the Bellerophon.
I wouldn't
just tag along. Yeah.
Get some hyper cloaking devices, some really good stuff, and steal somebody else's ship and remodify it into your own for a while or stuff could be seen.
Yeah.
Just building your own fleet? Fuck no.
No, you can trace that. There's paperwork and a money trail to track, even if it's buried deep somewhere. It's there. If you just got a couple of years pulling strings here and there, one of your guys, stows away on a ship. He's, supposedly there posing as a Starfleet officer, but he's really doing his own thing. God knows how many things Section 31 pulled during the Enterprise's voyage, where it's like some instance like disappears for a couple hours, and then something blows up on the outside of the planet, and then it's all right, and, got lost. Rule of Sun Tzu is like, do not form any kind of, if you're shapeless, so it can't be, then you can go anywhere. Because no one will be able to see you and stop you, because they won't know what to expect. But someone mentioned, somehow we got a reference to Section 31. It's like, it's their version of the CIA. Not really. Okay.
No, not even close.
It's like probably closer really to the NSA before it was declassified, or MI6 during the war, where someone said, "Are you MI6? What's that?" No such thing. It only goes to MI5. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's why I said play it up like Men in Black.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally clandestine. They were even Men in Black. They got this big, massive underground headquarters. Not even that much.
Although, like I said, if you did it right, so it's really, really hard to ever find. Truly play up the hidden spy world. fine,
Mm-hmm.
but not the way that was being
Yeah,
done.
you got a few well-placed Starfleet admirals here and there who are in on it, and they got to be let on certain missions. Now, the one DS9 episode, like think Inter Arma's Silent Legis, I think is Latin. Like in times of war, the law falls silent. And that one, Sloan was in that. Apparently, Sloan got captured and killed, but I think he shows up at the end. He was like, no, they didn't quite get him.
Sloan was a Weasley little bastard.
Yeah, Sapper does good Weasley bastard. But I was like, why do you think nobody came after Cisco after In the Pale Moonlight? Because that's a case of whoever started Sex 31 said, hey, good move. Leave him alone. He may have just saved the Federation.
I am very conflicted on that episode.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. And I know part of that was intentional, but it's also, I hate ends justify the means arguments.
Yeah.
I absolutely revile them. And that episode is literally just a giant case of that.
Yeah, well, the pretty big,
And I'm not saying the ends weren't important.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it wasn't a vital thing, but literally starting a war and turning groups against each other is...
yeah.
It's like, we know there was government involvement in starting certain wars by playing up and allowing certain terror attacks to happen and stuff like that. We know that. That's documented. Even the government's released documentation of that.
Yeah, Tech and Coventry. It's like the British knew it was coming because they'd broken the code. But it's like if they did anything about it,
even the U.S. here, even involvement, even in that big one, there's a lot of stuff that shows that they knew things were happening and they let it happen because it would get people to let them go to war.
There's speculation about Pearl Harbor. I think Pearl Harbor was largely
Pearl Harbor is not fully proven, although it is more than just speculation because there is stuff the government said about it too.
Yeah,
but it's not one as evident as some of the others.
Yeah,
but it's like governments will do that. They will literally let tragedies happen and let people die so they can manipulate them against each other so they can go to war.
Yeah,
it's not, and I have very conflicted views on a lot of this shit. You know. Because I understand the point of sometimes war is necessary to stop evil. But at the same time, do we want to become the evil we're fighting?
Yeah.
But at least they painted that as a moral dilemma he fought with.
Yeah.
Not just that he was okay with doing it.
Yeah. It was kind of bouncing off that sort of thing, like, letting Pearl Harbor happen. I think, again, I think they figured the Navy would fare better if the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. They didn't figure they'd get their asses kicked,
Yeah, I don't think there was any, because they did know things were going to happen and they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they knew the Japanines were planning something.
Well, again, there's evidence they knew where it was aimed to. They just didn't bother to investigate enough to find out when and what, because they basically assumed, it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the same as intentionally letting the attack fully happen, but it was literally like they're like, whatever. Let them do what they want.
It's the main fleet. They'd be idiots to try to attack it there. Oh, they did. In fact, they basically duplicated Billy Mitchell's simulation of the same plan 20 years earlier.
And that's the thing where we have this history as a people of, and not, I'm saying as American, as humanity, of being very arrogant.
Yeah.
Being unwilling to see what's in front of us. And sometimes that's very much to our detriment.
Yeah, because back in the 20s, Billy Mitchell with the Army Air Corps simulated an attack on Pearl Harbor. Because fleet's been there since since the Spanish-American War, when we got the place from, but same battle plan coming in from the north and similar simulated results. One of the there was a foreign officers in attendance, including a young Japanese attendant by the name of Yamamoto, who took careful notes.
I was avoiding talking about specific events so we don't get flagged under YouTube's algorithm.
It's only been 80
but
years.
Also because it's not just that. There's all kinds of attacks where it's known, it's documented. They knew things were going to happen. They didn't stop it because they knew it would help their side ultimately.
Yeah.
Just to let it happen so the other side looked so much worse to everyone else.
Yeah.
And, how many innocent civilians in different countries have been killed by governments literally setting them up as sacrificial lambs and allowing it to happen?
Yeah.
And
again, in that case, it's like I'm pretty sure they thought the Navy would do better, but also there was a lot of stupid shit that happened.
Again, I'm not referring to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you're a fucking dog with a bone. You just won't shut up. Because this is a global thing. I'm not talking one event here.
Yeah.
And I'm actually talking more leaning towards the ones that have been allowed to happen historically that were done to civilian populations. Because there's a lot of those documented through history.
Goddamn times. What? We found another tangent. Calm yourself. Okay. It's Jesus Christ. It's not even 4:00 yet. Get a grip.
Tell your wife I said, relax. This is not a long stream. Chill out, woman.
She wants to get dinner started. It's not even 4:00 yet, for Christ's sakes. Good grief.
If we're going to cook the pizza, we might want to start it a bit early.
That takes 20 minutes.
Whatever.
Maybe 10 to heat the oven up. Calm yourself. Yeah.
Isn't it funny when the people who are talking the most tell others to stop yapping? Literally an hour stream.
No, how many times you tell me to shut up? I already shut up. What the hell, I'm not the one still talking. But but that sort of thing is like, no, I think Section 31 saw, they did that. Whoa, good move. We should have thought of that. And when Garrick's coming, Cisco comes to Admiral Shuttle blew up. Okay, he knew Garrick did. All right, yes, fine. And they'll find that recording in the wreckage, and they'll blame the glitches. They'll blame it on damage from the thing, in which case they'll buy it completely. And guess what, Captain? You may have just saved the entire Federation, and all it cost you was one Romulan senator and the conscience of a Starfleet officer. I think it's a pretty good bargain. And I think they're kind of building up to introducing Section 31 at that point. I was like, they occasionally do need to go outside regular protocols to get the dirty work done. So. I've
never been a big fan, though, of the point of letting somebody die intentionally so you can use their death for political gain, even though it's a justifiable gain.
Yeah.
Because, again, it goes back to the same arguments with insurrection. Who are we to decide whose life matters more?
Yeah.
Which I feel like that same argument was prevalent in that episode, too.
Well, it was also, he was going to go back to Romulan Senate and expose it all. It's like, which would have been even worse.
Again, I'm not justifying the other guy.
They probably would have sided with the Dominion at that point.
I was saying the argument of we have a right to decide who has a right to live or die has serious issues. Unless it's self-defense, I have a problem with it. And again, the point of the episode also was not to portray him as a hero by doing this.
No, the whole point of that log entry, he's trying to bring himself to live with it. And talk it out. And all right, fine. All right, I think I can live with it now. He's not happy with it, but he computer, delete that whole damn log.
This is where I think some people think I'm a little too moralist at times. I am in some ways.
Yeah.
I really don't like these games where we play with people's lives.
Yeah. Kind of goes into the thing. It's like, yes, the Federation has certain guarantees of freedom, but it's not a suicide pact. Okay, it's like, we're not going to go down in flames just because we don't want to do bad stuff. It's like,
But I have a huge issue with the whole lesser of two evils argument on any merit.
Yeah.
I have never been a fan of it. I think it literally, but my biggest issue with it is people who claim to be Christian arguing it and literally doing things that violate our faith.
Yeah.
All for the sake of protecting our faith. It's like, well, you're not at this point. You're actually
that's kind of on a different level type thing.
But that's part of the same thing. In fact, a lot of the people who've done these acts in governments and stuff have done them from the point of being supposedly people of these different faiths willing to violate their conscience and violate their faith in order to ends justify the means, lesser of two evils shit. That's always been an issue to me. So I guess that's where I fall with a lot of that stuff. Yeah. So I'm again, same reason I think I can't stand Nerys. Because she had the huge ends justify the means and there's no such thing as an innocent victim attitude. And I hate her so much. And her attitude towards anything that happened to anyone who wasn't in her tank and on her side.
Well, that kind of rubbed her nose in it though a time or two there, especially when the episode where she goes back and finds that her mother was a comfort woman. And it's like, if she hadn't done that, you wouldn't be here now. That sort of thing.
And she really didn't learn that much from that. If you actually listen to her statements at the end of it, she basically said her mother was just as bad. It's like, what? That was the thing. She didn't seem to ever be repentant for her actions towards others. I could see, you're in the heat of battle. You're trying to survive and all that. You do some stupid shit. Fuck off. But repentance for what you did, remorse for it. That's where they were lacking with Kira. There was never remorse for her actions. She was always justified no matter what they were.
Shit, hold on. What the fuck? Yeah.
What the unholy shit are you doing?
Hold on. Something on the side here now. No, stop it. Close. There. God damn.
And that's where she rubbed me the wrong way. She didn't have any remorse. No matter what happened to who, no matter what, she had no remorse for it.
I think in that large part, she wouldn't allow herself there more. Because if she did, she'd have a nervous breakdown, probably.
There's a difference between being strong versus being arrogant. And she crossed that difference way too many times. The tailor who literally was brought in as a servant, who literally said that he had no authority. He was told and made to work there for the sake of his family. And she still said he wasn't an innocent victim when he got bombed. It wasn't my fault. He was there, so he was evil. It's like, fuck you, bitch. Those kind of comments, those are why I could never stand her. She had no remorse for anybody but herself. And what she did, because she was being forced into things, or she was being victimized or treated as a slave, all that was fine. But what other people who were slaves in that system or of the other race did, they were automatically evil because of their race. It's like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the inconsistencies, I think, what always made me hate her.
Yeah.
Not that she did some things that were questionable.
Yeah.
Not that she had at times the excessive freedom fighter, anything goes tactics.
Yeah.
The fact that she had a viewpoint that she was negated from any responsibility for that, but other people in the same situations weren't.
She says she'd been fighting Cardassian since she was old enough to hold a phaser rifle. That's a good deal. And I was like, okay, so half her life has been fighting the Cardassians. So it's like part of the show and her character arc was trying to walk that back. Okay,
They never did a good job of that, though.
It was inconsistent, but it's also, probably realistic. Not everyone.
Because that one with the tailor was towards the end. That's when she was the surrogate for them.
Yeah.
As she literally said, it was his fault for being there as a slave. And he wasn't an innocent victim. after everything she found out he'd been through and had been done to him just for being there as a servant, as a slave.
Yeah.
And she still said, oh, it's his fault at the end of the episode. That was the one that to me absolutely cemented it. I was done. I hated her.
Okay.
I could rant on DeviantArt.
I do
Aside
think
that one good site and turned into utter shit.
I think I do need to say something about the use of the term Prime Universe. That is a creation of JJ. Nobody referred to it as Prime anything. It was just the Star Trek universe and the alternate timelines here. But JJ, it's the Prime. Okay. The Prime Universe, that's, I guess JJ's version of the, thing of where the Kelvinverse splits off.
I'm going to try to remind everyone, do not use DeviantArt. They have changed the terms of service years ago so that if you post it there, they have legal rights to produce and sell it and claim it as their own work. They have also changed the terms of service 2 years ago so that anything posted on their site can and will be used to program AIs and use art to counter and argue against yours. Fuck DeviantArt.
Yeah.
And by the way, I had success on DeviantArt. I got a lot of contracts there. I got a lot of work there. I had a lot of paintings made in my honor named after me while I was working on there. I deleted all my accounts and all my artist names there when they did this shit. I basically destroyed and nuked my career as an artist because of DeviantArt's bullshit. What they have done to claim this ownership, what they have done to change the terms of service to this, has actually silenced one of the few safe places that people who were survivors, who wrote dark stories and horrors, who been through a lot of sexual or physical abuse and stuff, they took away their outlet by doing it. Fuck them. Anyway, sorry. Side note.
I referred to the canon universe, as far as like everything established, original series, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, movies, and I'm throwing Lower Decks in there too.
Gnome face.
Thundere face.
The Prime Universe, we're talking Discovery, Strange New World. That's the Prime Universe. It don't fit. Okay. That's why you won't see me. That's what the Kelvinverse deviated from, is the JJ monstrosity. It's not no connection at all. Again, consider Spock Prime didn't know how to do a time warp to go back and fix all the shit he'd been seeing. Canon Spock could do the calculations in his head. So,
fuck off.
It's like,
Hi, Gnome. How you doing?
Even tomorrow's yesterday. So, shouldn't you be making calculations for your time warp?
I'm doing all right.
I am, Doctor. And then in Voyage Home, it's like, I have to program many of the variables from memory. Whereas Spock Prime knows he's been sent back in time to something or other, and he witnesses the destruction of Vulcan, for God's sakes. And all those other, never once has occurred to him, get a ship, do a time warp, fix this.
I'm here, baby girl. I'm here.
Didn't they address it in the movie somewhat? Like, I know all this information, knowledge, I know all these theorems that could help you out with the time warp and the warp drive, but I can't give it to you because it's like against like moral code or some stupid shit. I don't remember.
All Spock would need is a ship with a warp drive. And a convenient, G-type star. There we go. Yeah.
That was from. Was it from the original, the first Abrams film, or is it from the Into Darkness?
I'm going back to Tomorrow Is Yesterday, first season.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. It's like our Spock could do the time warp calculations in his head. Nobody had to provide him any technology. Just give me a functioning warp drive and a ship. Bye. When you wake up tomorrow, it'll all be fixed. You'll never know it happened.
What was it they said in DS9 about Kirk? 17 separate temporal violations. The man was a menace.
Temporal violations?
Temporal.
Oh.
Temporal investigations. They didn't like him at all. Which, of course, made Cisco love him even more. But the fact that this Spock, just like, it apparently doesn't even occur to him that, maybe we can, instead of, just stopping Nero, it's like, how about going back and stopping him from starting this shit in the first damn place? They done time warped for less provocation. Oh, we got to get a couple of whales. Okay, Like, we're talking about all of Vulcan, one, that's not how black holes work anyway.
We were talking about when tourists join a fandom, and I had to bring up what my brother complained about when the Lord of the Rings movies came out. Because he's sitting in the theater, and he's, of course, sitting there, picking apart what they changed, how they did this, how this was filmed, seen this one, all this other shit. And he's sitting there watching this, and he's listening to people in the theater gasp, going, "Oh, Gandalf's alive!" And all you can think is, you fucking idiots. You've never read the books once?
Even in the Ralph Bakshi movie, it's like Gandalf was back, but because it ends at the I think the Battle of Helm's Deep. So that, please, okay.
But even in the books, unless you read the appendices, they don't give the complete nature of who Gandalf really is or what he is.
The wizards in those stories. This is where people misquote the whole allegory thing. There's a difference between trying to make things a full allegory for something and basing them on something that's something you've studied and researched and believe in. The wizard class absolutely was, based even on his own continuity notes, based on angels and demons. Yeah. Based on the fallen angels.
But based on, not a direct analogy, it was based on them, but that's a jumping off point.
Considering the full origin of the wizards, that actually makes sense.
Remember, it was kind of a competition with him and C.S. Lewis. Okay,
well, because they were competing to who could tell the best stories that would showcase their personal beliefs, their faith, and their viewpoints of the reality and fantasy in the most articulate way. And while I think Lewis had definitely a more open allegory, there was never a comment from Tolkien that bashed on him for that.
No,
if Tolkien hated allegory to the level that they try to portray it as, he would have hated what Lewis did. The thing is, they misquote a quote where he was literally mad at people because they were literally sitting there trying to pick every single character apart and tie them to people that he'd known in the war.
Now, I think if anything irritated Tolkien, the fact that Lewis is on his like fourth or fifth book before the first Lord of the Rings book came out.
So it's like, no, he didn't hate allegory.
No,
he hated when people were lazy and used it to tell the entire story, or when people tried to draw allegory into every character, whether it was there or not. There are, in his own Bible, which was sold at auction a couple decades ago. There's a whole section of footnotes on how he was using biblical stories and characters to create the characters in Lord of the Rings. In his handwriting.
Remember, I'm going to check something here.
It's one of the most misquoted statements. Did he bash allegory? Yes. Did he do it because people were trying to over dramatize his story and make it into far more than it actually was? Yes.
With allegory in the very loosest sense. It wasn't, direct one. He didn't just change the name.
Well, because his was the way he wrote his was really not allegory; it was metaphor.
Yeah.
And there is a difference there, and this is why when I was explaining how he did use metaphors to tell these stories, and people went, "You mean allegory?" and he is opposed to that. No, I mean metaphor, because they are related, but there are differences. And he wasn't opposed to metaphor; he was opposed to straight allegory. So when I say that too, I'm not changing them. I know the difference.
I mean, it was kind of, building those sort of a British mythology type thing, and telling some rollicking tales, but throw a few moral lessons in there in the meantime. But it wasn't, it wasn't doing like this is the Bible story, but told in Elvish. It's like,
But at the same point, there's people who go, he was just telling the story of some men who had an adventure to a mountain. It's like, no.
Well, there's more to it than that, yeah.
God, no. There were moral compass stories. There were social, economic situations. There was absolutely his beliefs, his faith, and his experience in the war absolutely became part of the story.
Yeah.
Well,
every writer pulls from their own experience at some point, so it's got to work.
It's come to be expected, right? You cannot, if you experience something, it will reflect in your writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you try to avoid it.
Yeah, you're pulling from your own at some point. Either you went through it yourself or you heard it from somebody.
Exactly, and that's why it's like, can we not let's not over dramatize and sit there and say that every character is an allegory tale connected to this person you served in the war with, or this or that. But at the same time, let's not sit here and pretend that he was just writing some adventure tale with nothing more to it.
Yeah.
Because they're both not true, even according to his own statements. And you can make it both sound true if you take one or two quotes of his out of context and ignore the others. But if you look at all his quotes, yes, he bashed allegory really viciously in that quote because he was getting pissed at people. When we're angry, we do not say things the best way, and we do not say them necessarily the most accurate way to how we feel. There were other statements he made after clarifying more details on that.
I just got a thought in my head in terms of what you said.
Did it hurt?
In terms of fuck you.
Rattle around hitting things. Yeah.
It's kind of funny that we analyze a lot of what Tolkien said and what is written, almost to the extent where Tolkien's letters is almost as analyzed to the extent of the letters of Paul.
That's actually true of most great writers because nerds are nothing if not obsessive over everything we study.
Yeah. I just suddenly think about W. Carapy and Cincinnati Turkeys Away. That was based on an actual incident.
And the letters of Paul is a whole other rant you can get me on, because the people who take that stuff out of context say this was the rule for all churches and everywhere. It's like, they were written to specific churches and specific cultures to deal with specific issues that church was having. In no way does biblical law say women should never have any authority or never teach people. Otherwise, Ruth, Deborah, Esther, all of them would have no freaking point.
And they are in the Old Testament. So the part
it's
of
like,
and it was mostly an argument between him and Peter. That's what it was. It was basically it's a Twitter fight in ancient times.
It's also, yes, Paul was a brilliant man. He was still a man. These were his prayers leading to him writing letters to certain churches for how to handle the issues they had so they could grow as a church.
Yeah.
If you take these as an absolute extreme to every single religious situation, then you actually have to ignore Old Testament doctrine and New Testament doctrine, including things said by Jesus himself, in order to do it. That does not mean the things that Paul said were wrong. It means that they were contextual to specific situations.
Yeah. From the perspective of a Roman citizen. Yeah.
From the people who go, well, that means that it was inconsistent. It's like, no. The Bible is not contradicting itself by that. It's just they were written for different situations.
Yeah.
Not everything's that cut and dry and that simple. No, it is not horrible if a woman's teaching. Good God.
Context matters. Kind of the time when quote unquote Rosetta says, I'm stroking my pussy. Context matters.
Yeah.
Stroke, 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 stroke.
I think you're annoying, baby girl. She wants to be held.
Purring.
Oh, no.
Oh, is she?
But I do think she wants to be held. Come here, girl. It's okay. It's okay. Come on, come here. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
That's needing a big drum to go boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
So, Rosetta, for
Faster,
context,
we're attacking the Phoenicians. Boom, boom. No,
describe the technique of stroking your pussy.
Well, you get your hand nice and firm and stick it on there and just rub until it burns.
Context matters, folks.
Yes. Meow. No, now she's nope. She's trying to
Give me the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's looking for it because I grabbed it quick while her face was distracted.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Where'd it go? I know it was there.
She smells the spot that it's in.
I'm so confused. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, she's going.
Oh wow!
Oh,
she doesn't want to be confused unless she's dazed.
She's really looking for that bottle I just moved, isn't she?
Yep.
She's like, where did my bottle of drugs go?
They're not your drugs.
No.
Oh.
Hey!
Sideswiped.
Those are Henri's drugs. Okay.
Baby girl has some too sometimes.
No.
No.
Only when she steals it.
Baby girl's just a stoner. No.
Look here, you little brat. That's Henri's medicine.
But I like it too.
I said, that's Henri's medicine. She looked at me, winked, and licked her lips.
It make me happy. Don't you want me happy?
It's like, I won't tell if you won't tell.
Go sit in your window.
But
you can't have drugs.
Just say no, kitty cats.
Where's the Chomsky stand-in?
She wants to do the Lydian impression.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shut up.
The amount of work she put into trying to search that shelf when I moved the bottle was amazingly funny. She was so determined to try to find where it went.
Somehow we've gone from Section 31 to Lord of the Rings to cat drug use.
Don't forget, we stopped off on biblical doctrine between the Lord of the Rings and
a lot of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is appropriate.
The Twitter fight between Peter and Paul, which is a good chunk of the New Testament.
It went from biblical doctrine to playing with your pussy to pussies on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
This is your pussy on drugs.
Any questions?
From there, we could branch a discussion of Fritz the cat at this point, but yeah.
I still get a kick out of the old PSA announcements with celebrities, and you see Pee Wee Herman goes, "Hey kids, this is crack. Look at it, it's crack." Funny as fuck.
Jimmy Woods did usually in the theaters or like the Will Rogers Foundation, and the vial crack cocaine. It's like, stuff that's like, and the real kicker is it can kill you first time. Not never doing audition. No, the first time it can kill your ass.
Or during the DARE campaigns where the cops would go to the schools and they just pilfered their evidence locker and created like high school billboard sort of presentations like, this is crack, this is weed, this is heroin, this is this, don't touch these things, this is a needle.
Yeah, that's
not how they were done down here. That's just you freaking stoned Canadians, okay?
That was after my time anyways. That's
not how they were doing them in the States. That's just you stoner fucks in Canada. I mean,
no, it was just PSA. One that stuck me. It's like
they were not like digging through evidence lockers and building drug paraphernalia shit out here.
If they were, what kind
Canadians?
What kind of school was that? If they had that shit in the lost and found at the front office, I
don't think they actually did pilfer the evidence lockers, but that's my impression.
Yeah, we didn't have anything that looked like that down here.
No.
That was what the hell?
No, we had PSAs on the TV.
Fucking Canuckians, I swear to God, you guys are just demented.
With a little punchline. Why do you think they call it dope? Ran that during Saturday.
Call it dope. I mean,
ran that during Saturday morning cartoons. That left an impression. But yeah. You do this, you're a dope. Kind of thing. Nobody wants to be a dope.
Why do I feel like we're having this conversation and Lydian's head's just going, I want a new drug? What was that look?
Right.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, we lost Bob. His hamster died.
It fell off the wheel. That's what the
Fell off
clicking
the
was,
wagon.
apparently. Come here, Panther. Come here, boy. Oh, come here. Say hi to Lydian.
Hey, Panther.
See? Now, another context thing. I just love stroking my soft, warm, fuzzy, big, black pussy.
Hey, Panther. Let's reenact Konosuba.
No.
Oh, yeah, she did it.
The hell? When did you actually figure out what that means? He actually flipped around and put his paws on my boobs. The hell?
I need to clip that.
Oh my God.
And now stuff.
I need to write that. I need to pass this information to the X chat.
No.
Everyone's gonna laugh. It's gonna be...
I cannot believe he just responded to that.
What'd I miss?
Lydian told Panther, let's reenact Konosuba because there's an image we use from that and talk about from that all the time, which is where this little black cat just walks up to the girl with busty boobs and starts.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
When he said that, Panther looked towards him, flopped down, and put paw on each boob and started to reach to do it. So he's heard that phrase enough. He's figured out what it means.
This is another one of those cases of cats are sometimes very intelligent, other times dumb as a bag of hammers. Sometimes within a 10-second period. Anyway,
he just did this live on air.
Just sent Steph a link because she's wanting in now.
Oh, dear God. She already missed Panther trying to grab my boobs and jiggle them. You gonna let her in?
Oh, I suppose. There we go.
Nothing happened. There it is. Finally.
Oh, something that's starting to break. The thing. Drunk 3PO first, but now Doomcock's picked up on it. The Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney is now being turned into office space for Imagineers. It's a storage and then an offices. So this is the most expensive office building in Disney possession, not only because of the dollar cost, but the collateral damage done to the IP it represented.
Baby girl.
Baby girl has been trying to steal drugs, and Panther's been trying to molest me.
In other words,
Panther is.
I can't believe he actually responded that way to you saying, let's reenact Konosuba.
It's interesting. It's nice to know.
That you've corrupted the cat so much that he knows what you mean now.
Down to 3. We're up to...
It's not out of the ordinary for Panther to reach for your boobs.
No, it's just the fact that he dropped so his head was between my cleavage and reached up like that gift that drove me crazy.
Okay, I think I missed
Panther, naughty boy.
He is a naughty boy.
Now the missed thing is finally going to go start preparations for Din Din here.
What is wrong with you?
Ow!
He wants this.
The other night, they curled up and went to sleep there, him and baby girl. And right about time she went to sleep, he walked over, put a paw on each side of her hip, grabbed on tightly, wrapped himself around her, and put to sleep with his head on her butt. Like, this is mine.
Yeah. I was just watching another Charlotte Dobre video before I came in.
Okay. She's a
She
mouthy
is
little
funny
thing, isn't
as
she?
shit. This one was about a very racist bridezilla.
Oh, she's had several of those. It always amazes me how openly deranged or bigoted people will be without any shame.
Oh, no shit.
How about the one who had a tantrum because she was being called an asshole because she literally tried to keep her father out of the wedding because he had an accident, was in a wheelchair. She didn't want him to give her away because she couldn't walk down the aisle with her properly.
What a bitch.
And she was surprised that everybody was mad at her. It's like, yeah, you're a piece of shit.
Oh, baby girl.
Is he going to let go of me anytime soon? Or is he just going to sit here and grab possessively?
Well, he's comfortable there, right? I wonder if I say the title of the show again, if he would do it.
Don't you dare, Panther. No. No.
I'm
Hey,
so tempted to.
boy.
I'm so tempted to right now.
Panther, you are so naughty.
You are a pervy little pain in the butt. Why did you just wink at me?
But you love me anyway.
Go up there with your girl.
Oh my god.
Just throw Panther butt first into like baby girl's face.
Why not? They've done worse. I still can't get over the time all of a sudden I hear cat meowing next to me while I'm streaming. I look over. Panther is laying beside me on the floor here, on his back, legs all spread. Baby girl is just below him, licking his balls while he's trilling.
Oh god.
And all I'm sitting there thinking is, I didn't know cats knew how to do oral.
Hey.
Did I mention that my cats are shameless little perverts?
They're your cats.
Yeah. You mentioned that plenty of times.
What's your point there, Lydian?
It's not a pointed statement, it's just a statement.
I don't buy that.
Okay. What other context?
Captain Asian Dick.
Huh?
I knew that was coming.
Bitch mode activated. You have no penis.
Okay.
Oh god, you just missed the trifecta, honey. No, I'm serious. Oh, don't be a dick.
Says the one who's been screaming at him the entire stream. Literally, we signed on. We didn't even turn the stream on yet. Yells at him, "Are you going to do this all day?"
I was just telling him about the trifecta of tits, and he's just like, whatever.
I can hear.
I heard that as a trifecta of tits instead of ticks.
So did I, actually.
It's okay.
And then I started picturing the 3-titted wonder boob woman from space.
From Recall?
I don't remember.
Yeah, there was
this
a 3-titted lady in Total Recall.
There's multiple. the sci-fi things that have used 3, 4, 6. For some reason, men like the image of women having even more boobs to grab.
You need to find yourself as an extra in a sci-fi show, Panther, so you could trifecta some boobs.
Why did you just wink when he said that?
Because he's a horny bastard.
What were you, like some pervy old man that got reincarnated as my cat?
Maybe. You never know.
Oh.
Woke up as a cat, looked up, saw my boobs, and went. Like, I think I could live with this world.
Ticky's really in a mood tonight.
No, that wasn't Ticky. That was just me.
What, Captain Asian Dick? That seemed more like Ticky than anything else.
That one was. That's the AI voice. Lydian, how common is that tick?
Pretty common.
But I love you.
Pretty common.
Of the North.
Whoa.
So our trip is fine. That's what I can go into. We're not going to make anybody sick. So you still get to hang out with me.
Why do you have to kind of
Because I'm evil.
position it? Yeah.
Staff, since he already knows I have it anyways, look what I got for him.
A nomad.
I can always put on for a second here. 1 sec.
She specifically wanted to emulate
Honey,
something like this.
can you turn on my light?
Happy?
No, Captain Asian is now part of the general vernacular now. So. No tips required.
Wow! People got to see me as a gnome. That's going to be disturbing and haunt everybody's nightmares.
Well,
Those butterflies I was making, look how many I have ready for the next stages already.
Cool. What?
I can hear him going gnome, gnome, gnome.
Yeah.
The 2.5 men.
Yeah.
I think we should end the stream and watch some stuff that's inappropriate.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hang on, honey. You were just calling for you.
Eat a dick, eat a dick, eat a dick, dick, dick. Hey, look, I've got some life-size notes here to show you. Oh, crap.
I was right here for God. Okay, yeah, I know the audience is not going to think they're tired of talk about Bible and cats and everything. So
one sec before you end it.
Okay.
So everybody can see. I got some life-size gnomes to make too. Look at.
He's ignoring the camera.
No, he's not. I saw the eye roll. Aren't they so cute?
Aw, they're adorable.
They little actual size.
I don't know. They might be a little big.
But they're so festive. Come on. Is that the burger?
They're gnome bees. What do you think? The gnome mobile, laughing at gnomes in the gnome mobile. What a wonderful way to feel, laughing at gnomes in the gnome mobile.
And on that, we'll talk it to later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
I just heard the oven.